Right now, Canadian Armed Forces members are fighting forest fires to protect their fellow Canadians and communities. Canada will lead, with the strongest economy in the G7 and a strong, secure, and sovereign future for all Canadians and for all time.
December 2025 marked a turning point that nobody saw coming. Mark Carney stood before the Canadian Armed Forces and delivered something far beyond gratitude. He delivered a declaration of independence. He promised a fundamental shift in how Canada approaches national security. This wasn't ceremony, this was transformation.
For most of us, the holiday season is a time to rest, to reflect, and to reconnect with the people that we love the most. But thousands of you are serving in the Canadian Armed Forces, and for you, this time of year is different. You're spending this holiday away from home, standing on guard to protect our sovereignty, our freedoms, and those of our allies. This season reminds us that there can be hope amid despair, that light follows darkness. For so many people around the world in crisis, you have been that light. You've risked your lives to save others. You are the reason the maple leaf remains a symbol of hope and help around the world. Our sovereignty and our security are not guaranteed. They're defended by you every single day. And in a more dangerous and divided world, we are ever more grateful for your service, your sacrifice. So on behalf of all Canadians, thank you.
They deserve better, and they will have better.
Canada has relied on American protection for generations. Decades of trust built on the assumption that Washington would remain stable, dependable, and willing to shield its northern neighbor. That assumption no longer holds. Carney recognized this reality and responded with clarity. Canada will defend itself. Canada will protect its own interests. Canada will never again depend on another nation for survival.
Neighbor, our biggest trading partner, has fundamentally changed its policies. So there is a sense of responsibility.
Carney addressed Canadian military personnel during the holiday season with direct acknowledgement of their sacrifice. For most of us, the holiday season is a time to rest, to reflect, and to reconnect with the people that we love the most. But thousands of you are serving in the Canadian Armed Forces. And for you, this time of year is different. You're spending this holiday away from home, standing on guard to protect our sovereignty, our freedoms, and those of our allies, Carney stated. He continued, "Our sovereignty and our security are not guaranteed. They're defended by you every single day. And in a more dangerous and divided world, we are ever more grateful for your service, your sacrifice."
The Canadian Armed Forces is central to Canada's security and sovereignty. The work of the incredible men and women who wear the uniform at home and abroad is essential to Canada. It's time to thank them for their service and dedication to our country.
Donald Trump's rhetoric changed the calculus entirely. He mocked Canada, he threatened Canadian sovereignty, he treated Canada like a possession rather than an ally. He launched tariffs that destabilized trade relationships. He demonstrated that when American leadership turns hostile, Canada cannot afford weakness. Most politicians would have panicked. Most governments would have compromised to maintain peace. Carney took the opposite approach. He looked at the instability in Washington and the growing global threats and declared that Canada would never again allow another country to hold it hostage. Relying on another nation for protection means surrendering control over economy, borders, sovereignty, and future. Carney made it clear that this era of dependence has ended. CTV senior correspondent Judy Trin examined Canada's strategy to defend its economic future, noting that the new government is committed to rebuilding, reinvesting, and rearming the Canadian Armed Forces. Trump's statement that he would like to see Canada become the 51st state, combined with his claim that America provides military protection, pushed Carney to transform the military into an economic shield.
We should be the 51st state, really. It would make a great state, and the people of Canada like it. They'd pay lower taxes. They have virtually no military. They have a very small military. They pay less than 1%.
This defense transformation is not symbolic funding or political theater. This represents real, historic, record-breaking investment.
Canada's new government is tabling what's called supplementary estimates. They include our plan to rebuild, rearm, and reinvest in the Canadian Armed Forces.
Tens of billions in immediate capital, soldiers receiving proper compensation, recruitment rebuilt stronger, capabilities restored, and Canada locked into immediate NATO commitment. For decades, Canada massively underfunded its armed forces. The military received respect, but not adequate equipment. Appreciation existed, but empowerment did not. That era has ended. Carney is not building a symbolic military. He is building a military capable of protecting Canadian land, defending Canadian skies, controlling Canadian seas, securing the Arctic, and ensuring that no nation dictates Canada's identity or direction. Carney announced that Canada will achieve NATO's 2% of GDP target in 2026. Half a decade ahead of schedule.
The additional $9.3 billion for this fiscal year, 2025-2026, will bring Canada in line with the 2% NATO target this year.
The first budget invests nearly $82 billion in defense over the next 5 years. Funding covers recruiting, training, and equipment. Soldiers are receiving raises and bonuses for overseas service and deployments in the far north. The Arctic is no longer frozen wilderness. It represents opportunity, vulnerability, and strategic territory. Melting ice is opening new passages. Russia is expanding Arctic interest. China is circling the region. For years, Canada stood underprepared, underpowered, undermanned, and underestimated. Carney is changing that reality through land strength, naval power, and air command. Canada will defend what belongs to Canada not by asking politely, but by being strong enough that nobody dares challenge it. Sovereignty is not a slogan. It is strength, capability, and presence. For the first time in generations, Canada is investing with full understanding of this truth. Climate change has made Canada's Arctic and its natural resources vulnerable to foreign intrusion by Russia and China. Better weapons are needed to patrol from land, sea, and air. In the past, 75% of procurement dollars went to American companies. That is being reduced. This may be the boldest element of Carney's vision. For decades, Canadian defense dollars built the American defense industry. Nearly 75% of Canadian military money flowed into U.S. companies. Canada paid while America profited. Canada remained dependent. That era is ending decisively. Canadian tax dollars will build Canadian strength. Canadian soldiers will use Canadian-built capability. Canadian money will fuel Canadian jobs, Canadian workers, Canadian technology, and Canadian independence. The Defense Investment Agency, created in October, aims to guarantee that Canadian companies benefit from major procurements, like the plan to replace aging submarines. The Navy wants 12 conventional submarines. Controlling territorial waters means controlling the future. Carney's submarine program represents dominance, generational investment, and decades of maritime security through Canadian-built strength protecting Canadian oceans. There are two competing bids for the submarine contract. Carney visited TKMS, the German-Norwegian conglomerate, in summer 2025. Then in fall 2025, Carney visited the South Korean rival, experiencing Hanwha's proposal firsthand. The contract, which includes manufacturing and maintenance, could be worth more than $100 billion. The winning bidder is expected to share rewards by buying Canadian steel and aluminum and servicing vessels over time. This represents a long-term investment spanning 30, 40, or even 50 years. Then there is the sky. Carney is not automatically accepting American fighter jet expectations anymore. He is not blindly signing deals that benefit others more than Canada. If the U.S. weaponizes tariffs and trade, then Canada should not fund their defense industry unquestioningly. Canada now negotiates from a position of power because true independence means no one controls Canadian borders, defense, or skies except Canada. Canada has already purchased 16 F-35s from the United States. With Trump's tariffs, whether to buy more is being reviewed. There is Swedish competition. The King of Sweden is leading efforts to pitch the Gripen fighter and offering to build the Nordic jet in Canada. The military budget will continue increasing over the next decade. The Prime Minister, along with NATO allies, has committed to spending 5% of GDP on defense by 2035. That will equate to roughly $150 billion annually, the cost of defending Canadian sovereignty. By 2035, Canada will not just be participating in world security. Canada will be shaping it. Spending will climb. Capability will expand. Respect will follow. Trump, America, Russia, and China will not decide Canada's destiny. Canada will. Carney empowered the armed forces with purpose. He told them and every Canadian that this country will never again stand small, dependent, or hesitant. This country will stand strong by itself. For itself, with pride. Canada is not just protecting borders. Canada is protecting its identity.